All God's people said, and to our worship service as stand and sing. 210, Jesus.
Jesus, I love thee, I love for thee all the bodies of sin my gracious Redeemer, my Savior, if ever thee, my Jesus is I love thee because thou hast first loved me, and purchased my pardon on Calvary's tree. I love thee forever. The goes on if ever I love thee, my Jesus is now. In the mansions of glory and never see I'll never adore thee in heaven so bright, and singing my praise before thee I love. If ever I love thee, my Jesus is now.
And our prayer hymn this morning is April. And it's a holy ground.
We're standing on holy ground. For the Lord is here. Where he is holy. This is holy ground. We're standing on holy ground. For the Lord is here. Where he is holy. We are standing on holy ground, and I know that there are angels all around. Let us praise Jesus now. We are standing in His presence. Oh Lord, these are holy hands. You are holy. He's given us holy. Words through these hands, so these hands are holy. Give your hands in sacrifice. These are holy hands. He's given us holy. He works through these hands, and so these hands are we are standing on holy ground. And I know that there are angels all around. Let us praise Jesus now. We are standing in His presence on holy ground. And just the voices. We are standing on holy ground. And I know that there are angels all around. Let us praise Jesus now. We are standing in His presence on holy ground. Father God, we thank you for your presence today. And we do recognize that we are truly stand on holy ground. Father, we bow before you humbly as a church, ready to hear a message from you. Or as Brother Andy comes in this time of teaching and preaching, I pray that you just use him as a broken vessel that you can pour out, so that you may penetrate our hearts. Father, it's our prayer as a church that you don't leave us found us today. That we walk out with these joys, that we are revived, we're refreshed, we're renewed, and we're ready to face this world this week. Lord, be with us in this time. We'll be so careful to give you all the praise, the honor, and the glory. It's all these things we ask in Christ's name. Amen. At this time, we'll dismiss the church.
If you would take your Bibles and turn to Nehemiah chapter 6. We've been walking through this book and been discussing the vision. The vision Nehemiah had, the vision for our life, God's vision, God's purpose, God's plan. I've had a lot of jobs in my life. I've had a lot of jobs, and I've had 2 careers, I'll put it that way. And y'all know the difference. I can't say my favorite career, because this is by far the favorite. This is wow. Serving the Lord, preaching the Word of God is wow. It is an amazing thing what God has done. Second to that, I guess my favorite job in the world was being a school teacher. Some of my guys that I ran with in high school could hear me say that. They would believe it. They believe that there is a true God. I hated school growing up. I did. I learned how to get through it. I learned how to endure it. I learned how to manipulate it. I learned how to get the grade. All those things I learned how to do. I learned how to sit, listen as a little boy. Y'all know the same. It was tough. School was tough for me. One of the reasons it was tough, I don't think I've ever said it publicly, I had a learning disability when I was young. I still have it. Dyslexic, still am dyslexic. They didn't identify that back then. They didn't talk about that back then. You just had to buck up and get it done is what you did. I didn't even know that I had a learning disability growing up. Reading was real tough for me. Really tough for me. hated reading class. And so when you're growing up in school, and y'all remember this, y'all remember how they used to teach reading? Y'all remember this? This is how they used to, this is why I love, when I became a school teacher, I became a reading teacher. Isn't that interesting? I hated it, and all of a sudden that's what I did. 3rd grade, you teach kids how to read. And then I moved on to 5th grade. If you're a male teacher, disciplinary male teacher, I mean, I'm full of discipline. I didn't know going into that you shouldn't do that because then they put all the discipline problem kids in your class, right? I was that guy. They put all the problem kids, and I'll tell you that Jerron, he was one of mine, Troy, Trey, Corey, they were all, I remember them this day, I know their faces. Boy, I tell you what, that made my year long. And then I finished it in 3rd grade, and I said, sure. And Mr. Dean put me in the next grade, so I would have them again. So I had them for a couple of years. I did. And that was all right. I built relationships with them. What I love to see is them to learn how to read. Because it's so vital in life. Think about it. And I had a learning disability, and I struggled with it. I wanted them to learn how to read. But here's the deal. When I grew up, they did reading all wrong. This is how, not just teaching you to read, but how to comprehend. Isn't that the goal of reading? To comprehend. I mean, read the Old Testament. There's sometimes I'm trying to read these words. I'm not trying to comprehend. I'm trying to get through that word. Right? I'm trying to sound that Old Testament word out. Later, I don't understand this word. Well, they used to teach us the comprehension of reading. Y'all remember this? Round robin reading. Y'all remember this? Everybody gets a book. They turn to the story. It's a short story. 5th grade reading. Here you go. We're going to go around the room, student by student. When I call your name, I want you to stand and read. Oh, man. I'd rather go to the dentist than have a root now. I don't know that. Seriously? I hated it. So what did I do? What do we do? I'm, 3rd row, like 5th seat. Okay. Right? Start catching. Oh, she's doing paragraphs. Okay. I start looking to the page where I think she's going to call on my name. And I start reading it, rereading it, and rereading it because I'm going to have to stand up. And I'm going to have to read these words that I have so much trouble reading. And I'm going to have to sound these words out. Kids in 5th grade, they're so nice and sweet when you don't read words. And I would practice, and I wasn't very good. I was chopping it up, I know. I had a problem. I'm trying to, and I'm going to tell you what didn't happen at round robin reading. 0 comprehension. 0. I did not care about the story. I didn't care about, all I cared about was going to get those words right. Because I had to go to recess. I had to go and face people. And I didn't want, I'm telling you, look, it was all of 5th grade. That's how they taught. I started teaching comprehension reading in 5th grade, and we did it different. Thank the Lord we did it different. We did small groups, we did chunk reading. It was great. It was wonderful to teach kids and to watch kids that they could respond and understand. See, we get like that in God's vision. We get like that. Listen, in God's vision, we get so focused on words in our life. So focused on the right here and the right now that we don't see the big picture. We don't see the big picture and what God is really doing. We're so focused right here, right now. I got to read these words. I got to get through this moment. Our focus gets so narrow. Vision isn't just focused on right here and right now. God's purpose and God's plan and God's vision for your life and for my life in church is so much bigger. It's so much bigger. In the case of Nehemiah, God's purpose, His plan, and His vision, listen, was bigger than just building a wall. The purpose plan for his life The wall was a big deal. Don't get me wrong. Nehemiah, he had never been to Jerusalem. He had no authority. It was his people. It was a disaster. He was a servant for the king of Persia. For God to choose him, to put him on that wall, to rebuild that wall, that was a big deal. For God to open the doors for all that to take place, that was a big deal. It was a big deal. Big thing going on in Nehemiah's life. And Nehemiah, he recognized that. The wall, listen, had been destroyed for 150 years. Man, that's a long time. Think about it, church. We've only been in a country for 200, almost 50 years. That wall was destroyed for 100 generations that passed. There's stories forgotten. A new system set up in the region. There's new power set up. There's people who've taken authority. There's so much that's changed. For God to send Nehemiah to rebuild that wall. The wall, well, it was a big deal. But listen, even though it was bigger than that. It was bigger than that. Think about this. Throughout the Old Testament, the nation of Israel was chosen and used by God to a dying world. Throughout the Old Testament, God chose and used Israel to bring light to the Gentiles. I read it to you at the beginning of service, Isaiah 49:6. I will make you a light to the Gentiles, that you shall be salvation to the ends of the earth. There was a big deal going on. It wasn't just a wall. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. It was even bigger than that. Throughout the Old Testament, we know that they were used to bring light to a dark world. Do you know what Israel's purpose was? Israel's purpose was that the world would know that is God. That was Israel's purpose. Thousands of years that the world would know that I am the only and true and living and holy God. Because look, Israel, the Old Testament, that was a religious time. There was false religions everywhere. There wasn't absence of religion. There was religion everywhere. Everybody had some sort of God. Some of the kings thought they were God. And if their army beat your army, then their army, their people, their God must be the God. Throughout Israel's history, God used Israel to show the dark world, a lost world, a dying world, that He is the true and living God. I mean, think about all those amazing stories in the Old Testament. Think about it. They're just not crazy stories, miracles. They have purpose in them. Moses going to Egypt to deliver Israel to God's chosen people. Incredible miracles. The locusts, the fiery hail boiled wine. Why would God use frogs? Think about that. Frogs. I'll use something. Get some giant. Go in there. Slaughter everyone. Rambo. God did interesting things throughout the Old Testament. Why? God said, I'm God. Tell them I'm God. I'm the true and I know they think that their king is God. And all that kind of stuff. That's why I bring them. And Moses, you go before them, and I want you to do something. Because I want them to know that you serve the living, true God. That's what that story is about. John had taken the people of Israel. He believed. He believed we can go to the promised land. We can do it. There's giants in the land. I know. We can. God made him wait. And when finally he goes in to conquer Jericho, I mean, you would think, if I was God, I'd just go conquer Jericho. Right? I would use muscle, might, power. God said, no. I just want you to circle it 7 times. That's all I want you to do. And when he does, it collapses. And it's not just a story. It's to tell the world the true and living God. Joshua, that's your purpose, is to tell the world. Moses, that's your purpose, to tell the world, to show the world I am the true and the living God, because I am God. Not, listen, it wasn't to show the world that Moses and Joshua were just great leaders. I don't know if they really were great leaders, but they served a great king. They served a great God. That was the purpose. Y'all remember Gideon? Gideon. He outnumbered the army 10-1. He was ready to go. God said, no. You have too many on your side. A half of them. Really? I want to win the war. So he gets rid of half. No. God said, no. Wait. You still have too many. So he gets rid of he gets down to around 100 men. And he goes to battle, wins the battle. God could use the army to actually end up killing themselves. Gideon wins. Does that show that Gideon was a great leader? It sounds to me he's not a very good leader. He's getting rid of half his army. He could have conquered him. That's not God's purpose and plan throughout, is to use Israel to show that they serve the true and living God. That's the story throughout the Old Testament. Probably my favorite is Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, he had a battle. Look, God says, put the choir in the front. No, Jehoshaphat said, you know why he did it, right? God was tired of those old hymns. I just God said, you know what? I want them to know. I want the enemy to know who you serve. You're not a great leader. It's not about you. You serve a great God. That's what this is all. God, throughout the Old Testament, and even in Nehemiah's life, was to use Israel to be a light to the Gentiles, to tell the world that Yahweh is the only true and living God. We see that at the end of building the wall in Jerusalem. Chapter 6, verse 15, it says this, so the wall was finished on the 25th day of Elul, which is October the 22nd, in 52 days. Y'all see that? In 52 days, the wall was finished. But the purpose and the plan and the vision wasn't to build the wall. It's an amazing feat, don't get me wrong. The wall was destroyed for 150 years, and we've walked through this together. I mean, Nehemiah, he had outside obstacles, inside obstacles, all kinds of obstacles around his life, around this vision. And God says, I'm doing Nehemiah says, I'm doing a great thing. I can't come down. My focus, my intent, my purpose is to build the wall, build the wall, build the wall. And all the pressure from the outside is coming. I see it. All the pressure dividing inside is coming, but I'm doing a great work. I'm doing a great work, and I cannot come down. For them to finish this in 52 days is a great feat, but it was not to show that Nehemiah was a great leader. That he served a great God. Look at verse 16. And it happened when all our enemies heard of it, and all the nations around us saw these things, that they were disheartened in their own eyes. Listen, for they perceived that this work was done by God. Wow. He gets all the praise. He gets all the glory. God said, I won't share it with anyone. Nehemiah's a good guy. I'm not sharing my glory with anyone. Moses was a good guy. I'm not sharing my glory with anyone. That Daniel, they're all good. The stories are good, but I will not share my glory with anyone. The world knew all saw, all the nations around him, all it saw, they knew that Nehemiah's God, Yahweh, was the true and living God. The purpose of the wall, the plan for the wall, the vision for the wall was to tell the world, I'm God. I'm God. I hadn't forgotten about Israel. I know it's been 150 years. I haven't forgotten. My purpose, my plan, my vision is still in place. They're my chosen people, and I am their God. So here's the truth of this. God strategically placed Nehemiah. He strategically placed Nehemiah to serve that purpose. God has strategically placed you on the wall. You're on the wall. God strategically placed you in your family. He strategically placed you on your job. He strategically placed you in this community. He placed you in this church. It's not by coincidence. It's not by chance. God strategically placed you on the wall. Why? Why? To bring him glory. To tell a lost and dying world that Yahweh is God. He is the only God. He is the true and living God. That's why he's placed me on the wall. That's why I'm here. Listen, I know all of us, you've been trying to convince people of that. You have. There's people in your family, I know. There's people you've been trying to tell, and wouldn't it be easier? Wouldn't it be easier if every time we had church like this, and I'm trying to convince them that Yahweh's God, that he's the only true and living God, that Jesus Christ died for and rose again. I'm sitting there, I'm passionate, I'm trying. Wouldn't it be easier? Get all y'all on the bus over here, drive y'all down up around the corner to the Magnolia River, and I just stand there and say, okay, y'all ready? All right, I'm going to show y'all who God is, all right? Ready? Separate, right? Every one of y'all got, and he's God is the true and living God. Wouldn't it be cool if I could just come down here, have you come up, say, put your hand in your pocket, put your hand in your pocket, pull it out, it's full of leprosy. Say, okay, put it back in, you pull it back in, and it's all gone. Right? Wouldn't that be easier to convince people like that? That we can just show them things and they'll know. See, the unique thing about the story of Nehemiah, read that through. The unique thing about the story of Nehemiah, there's no miracles like that. There's no miracles like Moses. There's no these unbelievable events that happen in the story of, and yet the people saw. And yet the people saw. And they didn't say, well, Nehemiah is an unbelievable leader. No, they saw what happened. And they said, their God, his God. Isn't that amazing? I want miracles, but I'm thinking we're on that wall, right? It was through blood, sweat, and tears, focused on building the wall, that the world knew that Nehemiah's God was the true and living God. Listen, you're on that wall. You're on that wall, and you may not see the miracle. You're on that wall. I know we want it. We want them to believe, and we want them to know. And if we could just do something, that they would know for certain, they'd see it. If a miracle, I've seen families. I've been to the hospitals and prayed for them and said, if they walk out of here, it's a miracle of God. Talk to people on that bed and said, if I get out of here, I'm coming to church every Sunday. If I get through this, I'm coming to church every Sunday. I'm like, you should. You're in bad shape. If you get out of here, the only way you're going to get out of here is by the hand of God. I've seen alcoholics and addicts so strung out. That's it, man. If you get clean and you live through it, God's got his hand on it. Oh, I know it. I don't be in church. I don't sit on them pews. You know what happens. They get out, they're clean for a little while. They get 60 days, 90 days. Well, they're good to go. darken the doors for a little while. They're gone. I've seen God raise them out of that hospital bed. And I just look back and say, that was God, that was God, that was God. My God is the true and living God. He had his hand on raised you. Wow. And then they don't. Isn't that amazing? See, miracles. That doesn't mean. That's not always. They don't see the dead raised. They still not believe. However, blood, sweat, and tears, you're on that wall. You're focused on everyday work to build that wall. Your blood, sweat, and tears on your job, just trying to be that guy, that lady who never sways. You're not going to fall into this. You're not going to bend. You're on that wall. God put you here for a purpose and a plan, to giving praise, to giving glory, to tell the world, to show the world that He is the true and living God. You're convinced that God put you there to be an influence, at home. You know that God placed you there to be an influence at school students. You know that God put you there to be an influence in our community. You know that God has put you there to be a moral authority. That means you are going to walk the walk. You're not just going to be a talker, you're going to be a doer. You know that God, and listen, it's not going to be about miracles. It's going to be about blood, sweat, and tears. Some of y'all have been doing that not years, but decades. All that is for a purpose. And it's not just the wall. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. Well, you're in the trenches of life. And we're in the trenches of life. And it's tough. Sometimes I'm so focused on the wall. Sometimes I can't even look past the next moment. Caught up in that day, not even that day, that moment. I'm caught up, listen, in a word, trying to sound it out. That I can't comprehend. That God's doing something bigger, and I can't see it. I'm just focused, blood and sweat and tears. I'm just trying to get through this. No way, but to give Him glory, to live under His authority. Focused on that wall. Listen, God's doing something so big. See, in the Old Testament, Israel was used by God to be a light to the nations. But when Jesus came, He came as a light, but to give a light. See, here's the truth. Here's the message this morning. Church are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. If you've ever accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, that means you're baptized by the Holy Ghost. That means He's just not in you. The world, when they look at you, the light of Jesus. I know. We get so focused. Y'all, we do. Monday's waiting for you. Right? We're so focused on those words that we can't comprehend the story. And He wants you just to step back a minute. He wants to remind you, yeah, you're going to get back to work. You are. We all got a lot of work to do. He wants to remind you, hey, you're part of a bigger story. A bigger plan. This is what He says to you. You are the light of the world. Wow. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Why? Why would He do that? Why does He do that for us? He could come down and do miracles. Actually, guess what? He did. He came, and He did miracles. He even came, rose from the dead. And they still don't believe. So He says, okay, it's bigger than that. I'm going to use you guys to be a light to the world. I know you're on that wall. You're fixated on that wall because I placed you there. But I want you to know it's bigger than that. There's a bigger story. There's a bigger plan. It goes beyond you. It goes beyond your generation. It goes to the next generation and next generation. My wife attends church because she was raised to go to church. To go to church, she was raised to serve in the church. But it wasn't her parents. And they were the ones who brought her. But that influence started way back. Her grandfather, her great-grandfather, bought in to the truth a long time ago. And because of that light so shining in Butler County, that light not just shines through one generation, but 2 generations, 3 generations, 4 generations. See, you're going to be dead and gone, and your light will still be shining. You've got to see it's not just the wall, the place you sit right now, but the perspective, the story is so much bigger. There's so much at stake. This is what he said. This is why. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works, listen, and glorify your Father who is. Wow. You got a lot to do tomorrow. Your wall is waiting on you. That wall sits there for you to report to God. That's the purpose of it. And we get so focused on just the here and now. No, we all do. I want to encourage you, you're part of a bigger story. You're part of a bigger plan. God has strategically placed you on the wall. He's given you a purpose, a plan, and a vision to do life differently. To raise your kids differently. He has put you there to be a different kind of grandparent. He put you there to do community differently. He has placed you there with a purpose and a plan and a vision to do your job differently. Not just to build a wall, but to be a light to a dark world. To glorify your Father in heaven, that through you, now think about this vision, through you students. I know it's hard to figure out your purpose and your plan. You're trying to figure out what you're going to wear to school. It's bigger than that. The purpose and the plan is to let the world know that Christ is King. Wow. Your purpose and your plan is for your people in your class to know that Christ is King. The plan in your team that Christ is King. People in your life, in your job, in your home, in your community, your people in your family to know that Christ is King, to glorify your Father in heaven, that Christ is the only true and living righteous God. But we get bogged down in the day-to-day routines. Let me ask you this morning. Are you focused on words? Are you focused just on words? Like round robin reading? I'm just focused on this. I gotta get through this. Are you? But maybe you're not focused on the comprehension of the story. Wow, that's huge. That's huge. In your walk with Christ, when you back up, listen, and you know that my purpose and my plan is to be a part of His story. Wow. Can I tell you this? I've told you this before. I love to say it. I got the microphone, so I can say it. Your vision, your own purpose, and your own plan is too small of a thing to dedicate your life. Tell my kids this. Your purpose and your plan is too small of a thing to dedicate your life. Because when the wall is completed, and it will, one day God's going to call you home. When the wall is completed, what will they say? What will they say? I don't, you know what I don't want? If y'all are here for my funeral, if that happens, don't say he was a good preacher. Don't. Well, probably can't. You're like, I wasn't. Say he started a great guy. Say the story was much bigger than raising kids, being a preacher. The story was much bigger than that. I told my wife on my tombstone, I wanted to say tombstone for epitaph. I wanted to say it. He told the story. Because I do. Because that's all that matters. It's his story. It's so much bigger than my story. It's so much bigger. He's doing a big, big thing in our lives. We just have the privilege of being a part of the story. Let me ask you, have you bought into that? Have you bought into that? Have you bought into it? I don't know where you are today. Maybe you're just focused on words. Maybe you're distracted by just the words. Maybe you're going through life like I did, dyslexic. You're just trying to focus on getting through that word. You can't take your eyes off of it. Maybe you just need to step back and say, God, I need to see through your lens. I can't see clearly right now. I just need to see through your lens. I need to see that my life, that you have a big purpose, a big vision, a big plan. Maybe you're just disconnected. Look, the only thing I can give you is to turn towards God. Just turn towards Him. Lean into Him. I promise you. As the stories of the Old Testament and New, He will remind you. He will speak. He will show you the purpose and plan that He has for your life. And it is bigger than you can imagine. You believe that this morning? We're going to have a hymn of invitation in just a moment. I'm about to pray. Before I do that, I want to invite you. I just believe it landed. I believe some of us are we're focused on words. Back up. We need to see the comprehension of the story that you're in. I don't know where you are with that, but maybe you just need to come and spend some time with the Lord. You don't need to make a public decision. You just need to come and spend some time with the Lord. Maybe this morning you've never accepted Christ as your Lord and Savior. All that landed a little different on your heart. Because you've heard these stories. You've never had a personal relationship. I'm going to tell you something. My Christ is King. To live in God. I'd love to tell you more about it. If you've never accepted or want to know more, I'd love to spend some time praying. But I don't know how that landed. Don't believe it landed. To do this after I pray, we respond to it. Don't push back. Respond. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, I love you. I thank you so much for the truth of your word. I thank you for the story of Nehemiah, Lord. I was focused on that wall. So are we. We are so focused on the things of our life. You put us on the wall. You want us to be focused. Lord, remind us this morning that it's bigger. That it's not just building a wall. Lord, we're part of your story. What a reminder. What a truth. What a promise. Lord, we're humbled by the thought of that. Lord, I pray for those who are here, Lord, who are caught up in the words. I pray that they'll step back and, Lord, you'll let them look through your lens and remind them that they're part of a bigger story than just building a wall. The Lord's there to be a light to the world. Wow. Purpose and a plan to bring you glory, honor, and praise to a lost and dying world. Remind them of that. Encourage them, Lord, like only you can. Lord, if there's someone here who's never accepted Christ as their Lord and Savior, I pray that